This one signature of Donald Trump is worth more than hundreds of billions of dollars. That's the kind of money that will soon start flowing to American businesses, workers and their families. At long last, the American economy, as well as its international reputation, are returning to the state they were in before the Joe Biden presidency.
Liberation Day, waiting for a long time. April 2nd, 2025 will forever be remembered as the day American industry was reborn, the day America's destiny was reclaimed, and the day that we began to make America wealthy again. USA.
Liberation Day is not a unilateral measure by Donald Trump. On the contrary, it's a response to the decisions of other countries. Countries that have been draining the pockets of American businesses for years must come to terms with the new rules. America is imposing reciprocal tariffs on products from countries that have previously burdened American goods with their own tariffs.
Industries like automakers and other manufacturers, however, could benefit from the trade protection. We'll just have to see how it all plays out.
The European Union faces 20% tariffs on everything it sells. Products made in China have been subjected to an additional 34% tax, and British products to 10%.
American steel workers, auto workers, farmers, and skilled craftsmen, we have a lot of them here with us today. They really suffered gravely. They watched in anguish as foreign leaders have stolen our jobs, foreign cheaters have ransacked our factories, and foreign scavengers have torn apart our once beautiful American dream. We had an American dream that you don't hear so much about. You did 4 years ago.
The last 4 years of the Democratic administration under Joe Biden have severely hampered the American economy. Heavy industry, on which America was built, ceased to be profitable. Factories in cities and towns collapsed, and people lost their jobs overnight. Donald Trump promised his countrymen that businesses in the United States would start being profitable again, and hardworking Americans would be able to secure their family's income once more. He promised to rebuild the middle class in America, that there would be a resurgence of the kind of industry based not on high-tech specialized knowledge, but that ordinary Americans would be able to do those jobs that, decades ago, gave whole families their bread and home. Security, economy and family are the pillars of Trump's presidency. Under the Democrats, fuel and electricity prices rose by a third. Now, the quality of life for hardworking Americans may finally improve. America finally has a leader, probably the first since Reagan, who looks out for American interests. Unfortunately, Europe has political mediocrity and lackeys. Left-wing establishment politicians and their media are attacking the American president for protecting his own people. EU officials did not even try to talk to Trump. Brussels deliberately pushed for a trade war with Washington to push American companies and soldiers out of Europe. But the tariffs will hurt manufacturers of German cars, French champagne and Dutch cheese. That's why the head of the European Commission is softening the hitherto aggressive tone.
I agree with President Trump that others are taking unfair advantage of the current rules, and I'm ready to support any efforts to make the global trading system fit for the realities of the global economy. But I also want to be clear. Reaching for tariffs as your first and last tool will not fix it.
But it is the Eurocrats who are primarily responsible for all the regulations hitting EU businesses and workers. This is a group that destroys the European economy and then is surprised that someone protects their own economy. Take, for example, the Green Deal, which burdens the European economy heavily. 3,000 regulations, where in the United States they have 300. They keep fighting with the US side, claiming they will build their own army. These are tall tales. For all the world leaders who will be calling and asking for a removal of tariffs, Donald Trump has one answer. Remove the barriers to trade with America that you yourself have imposed, invest in your own security, then the road to negotiations will be open. For now, Donald Trump's priorities are American families and American businesses. Today, the world's politicians, pointing to him as a culprit for all the problems, should themselves take care of their own countrymen.